Trans erasure is happening. You have a responsibility to use your position and platform and shut this down yesterday. Trans erasure is a real thing. It is happening in front of us. Happy Sunday. Welcome to another episode of Dwhell On It, a series where I, Taylor, answer your questions about my lived experience as a trans woman. If it's your first time here, of course, please subscribe. Please do me a solid, hit like too, because what liking does is it helps give the algorithms a bit of a nudge just to make sure that other people who are interested in similar topic get a chance to see it as well too. Please do me a huge favor and share. I do the best that I can to try to promote it to as many channels as I'm able to reach out to, within reason, of course, but I know that there are so many other places and so many other people and so many other platforms that do have an opportunity to see this, and I can't reach them. So I need you to do me a huge solid and help out with that. I don't know if anyone can tell, but it's dark outside because it's early this morning. I just wanted to share that for fun. It's about 10 to 6 in the morning, and yeah, I woke up just a little bit ago, started getting a little work done, and I'm like, I still need to record an episode of Dwhell On It. Here we go. I haven't even had my coffee yet to start this morning here, so this is going to be a fun one. I wonder how many yawns I'm going to have to edit out, considering I do have type 2 narcolepsy. I do like to introduce my videos with a visual description to get things started. It's still the beige room, just a little darker than usual. Pretty much a pre-dawn sky, keeping things not as illuminated as usual. I also call it my office because I get some work done. Behind me are some pieces of cardio equipment, so it's also my gym. I've got an air conditioner on the wall. I've got some knickknacks on the mantle, and on top of the windowsill it's just a decorative flower. I am wearing I'm going to be working out later, so it's a yellow sports t-shirt. I've got my hair brushed, right? It's out, it's naturally wavy, it's highlighted blonde. You can see some of the natural roots. I am due for a style, which I'm going to get done before my birthday, which is going to be on June 7th, so I've got some time to let that just continue to grow out, I suppose. Otherwise, completely naked face. Had a shower last night, slept, woke up, and here I am. As always, I like to point out I do have my 3 piercings underneath my right eye in a small, medium, large fashion, going outwards towards a cluster earring at the top of my right ear, with a nose piercing as well, and a couple stud earrings. The small and the medium piercings have been acting up just a little bit lately, and that's from my own fault, just some negligence from either falling asleep or having naps with the face and not cleaning up. They're getting a little angry, which is rather common when it comes to dermal piercings too. Clean them up, take care of them, and everything goes back to normal eventually. I did post it in last week's episode. I do want to share it again because I want to make sure as many people have an opportunity to check out. On Trans Day Visibility, I had an opportunity to speak on Hallway Conference about inclusion at events, so I'd like to go ahead and give another opportunity for people to check it out. I will link it right up here. Totally check it out with Managed Sales Pros. Like I said, the series is called Hallway Conference. I had a total blast. Please check it out, and please share that too, because again, same reasons about sharing earlier. And lastly, before we get started, I do have 2 fundraisers in the description. Please check them out. One is for Run for Women, one is for Walk for Muscular Dystrophy. The goals for each are $1,411. The deadlines are June 5th and June 11th respectively, and what you're doing is choosing to support women's mental health and women's wellness programs, or Canadians who are looking for assistance when dealing with over 160 neuromuscular disorders, and that's including the people who are suffering the disorders, their families, and the networks that go on with that too. The support is super appreciated. Share that too when you're done, because again, I can only reach so much, and you helping expand the message is insanely helpful. So thank you so much in advance for your help. Let's get started with this week's episode of Dwhell On It. How important is sex to you? That's a good twist on a question that I get asked in significantly more crude ways. Last week's episode, I spoke about being demisexual, and which was also in good timing considering April 6th is International Asexuality Day. I like sex. I don't go out of my way for sex. The last time I personally have had sex was in October of 2019. So it shows how important that is. What is important to me when it comes to sex is the emotional connection with the person who I'm going to be having sex with. Sex is important to me, but sex is important to me as part of intimacy, not physical getting off. Sex is important to me as a way to share a vulnerability with your partner. And that's what I appreciate the most about sex. I appreciate the idea of just having some time with someone you love and have that moment. Don't get me wrong, I can certainly play the game, hey, we've got 10 minutes, we need to be somewhere. Okay, cool, let's take 11 minutes and be late. That's perfectly fine too, but otherwise, when it comes to sex, I want sex to be a moment of bonding, not of a way of just, getting off. Being able to just take that moment away from the rest of the world and share that time together is definitely important to me. It's important, but only when it's with the right person is, I think, the best way to put it. What changed about you the most since you transitioned? I can think of two things. I've been on HRT since February 1st of 2020. I'm the farthest thing from the chestiest person, but I'm perfectly okay with that. But there's still something. I know I've said tongue-in-cheek that, if I stopped hitting a treadmill every time I hit a jujube, maybe I would have some body fat to actually do something with it, but that's really not how it works. Like, it kind of works like that, but realistically, everyone's genetics are different. The prescriptions you take, and remember, HRT is pretty much like puberty 2.0. Not everyone's puberty is identical, and again, there's genetics and everything all about that. Who knows what future is going to look like for me? Usually it's about 2 or 3 years until things are kind of like best understood as to like, all right, here's what your blueprint is, and so on. Otherwise, in terms of what's changed most for me, if I had to be real, if I had to be 100% real, but what's changed the most? Myself, my attitude, me, my happiness. I've spoken about happiness so many times, it's almost silly. It's like, welcome to the happiness show. But that has been the biggest change for me since I transitioned, the fact of just having utter self-acceptance. I wake up and I love myself. I wake up and I'm happy to wake up. Let's put it this way, wearing a yellow athletic t-shirt, I've got, just leggings, whatever, all stuff to work out. But guess what? These are the same things that I wore in a past life. This isn't like Taylor attire. It is Taylor attire, right? But like, this is stuff that I bought way back when. These are Brad's clothes that I'm wearing way back when I would go ahead, I'd get dressed to get ready to work out or whatever. All that would be in my head would just be like, I just want to be happy. I just wish I could wear something that I want to wear. I wish I could wear something that represented me better, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, laundry's piling up and I gotta work out. So here, I'm just gonna put a t-shirt and, old leggings on. Like, these aren't fashionable leggings. Again, this is Brad's clothes, but they fit. And that's it. And so it's just those types of things of self-acceptance where I stopped hyper-analyzing where I want to be in life, and now I'm just happy. I just get to be. Like, seriously. Like, I woke up, this is a wake up face. And I never imagined to be able to do anything like that ever before. That has been the biggest thing that's changed about me, of just my happiness and my vulnerability, my self-acceptance. That easily is the thing that's changed the biggest, which unfortunately is something that most people aren't realizing when it comes to transitioning. Everyone always thinks about body hair and boobs. There's so much more to transitioning about personal interest, personal value. That's been the biggest thing that's changed for me. Of course, I love my hair. Right? I've obviously wanted to have, long hair for Lord knows how long, and I can't wait for it to continue to grow. It's just another example of something where people would see things change physically. What's funny is there was something I said to someone about a month ago, give or take. We were just talking about her self-talk. I find self-talk to be so important, and I'm guilty for negative self-talk too. The way you talk to yourself is really important because it affects the quality of your day. You might not recognize it, you might think that you're doing yourself a favor, but negative self-talk reinforces space to be allowed to be spoken to like that, to believe those things. I made a challenge saying that if that negative self-talk is done, no more negative self-talk by June 11th, and I use that date because of the walk for MD, but if that negative self-talk stopped, it was done all the way up to and including the walk for MD, I would shave my head the next day. I would lose all my hair. I don't care. We can look at how many other people have short hair out of fashion. Some people lose their hair because of chemotherapy, so on and so on and so on. But something that is part of my identity. This is my Taylor aesthetic, sweeping hair over my left side. It's part of my trademark, I guess we can kind of say. And I would shave it all off if it stopped that negative self-talk, and I'd still love myself at the same time too. I would never have been able to even dream of saying something like that in the past. To imagine myself to be at a point where I could lose something that would be considered feminine and still feel comfortable in my skin. It's such a different place in my life, and that's what's changed the most when it comes to transitioning. Like I said, I was willing to go ahead and shave my head if it helped somebody stop the negative self-talk, and I wouldn't think twice about how I feel about myself, and I would be incredibly happy to know that person helped improve their own quality of living too, by not letting themselves bring themselves down further and further every time that it happened. I hope that explains what's changed the most when it comes to transitioning. It's a pretty standard day to day. Not much has changed in life otherwise. My wardrobe changed a little bit. Clearly not showing that today because, like I said, this is old stuff. Live in the same place, pretty much eat the same food, do the same job, still have the same values, still like the same sports, blah, 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 blah. The biggest thing that's changed is my happiness. Are you embarrassed to be transgender? No. Is there anything often said about trans people you just can't listen to? Honestly, the amount of nonsense that is spoken about trans people coming from people who don't have a hot clue what they're speaking of, and for the people who think they know what they're talking about still don't have a hot clue what they're talking about, I don't even give them a listen. If they're not willing to go ahead and listen to me in good faith, I'm not even going to entertain what their beliefs are because their beliefs are parroting a very, very harmful message. What I do listen to is not necessarily their message, but the context and the harm that can be caused by it, I suppose, and I redirect that towards a solution. So a good example for that, of course, would be when it comes to swimming in the NCAA. Instead of hearing everyone's comments and thoughts and beliefs and so on about trans athletes, I don't bother listening to people who don't know what they're talking about. They're talking about their beliefs, but they're not talking about an understanding of reality. What I do, however, is I use that conversation and I direct it to organizations who create change. For example, I would go ahead and direct the awareness of that to Sport Manitoba, the SITF, so on. Places that I've been involved with, trans erasure is happening. You have a responsibility to use your position and platform and shut this down yesterday. Trans erasure is a real thing. It is happening in front of us. Don't bother listening to things that people have to say that are anti-trans. All it is just an amplification of the effort of trans erasure. I spoke about it during my Trans Day of Visibility video. If you have not seen it yet, check it out right here. Please, please, please take a few moments to give it a watch or a listen. It's about 11 minutes long. It is worth your time. Give it a listen and get an understanding about what is happening. It is happening. That goes back to why I don't bother listening at all to anti-trans rhetoric, because it's pointless, because it is just another flavor of trans erasure. Trans erasure is happening, and you have a responsibility to see that too and put an end to it. And you put an end to it not by arguing with bigots online, not by trying to convince very entrenched political leaders who truly have anti-trans beliefs as part of their position. You're not going to convince those people to be better. You must take your energy and talk to organizations who have the position and platform to create systemic change. Speak to elected officials. Speak to political leaders in a language they understand and demand and create inclusion, instead of telling them that they're being mean or wrong or this or that. Take their platform and use that, and show them that their platform has a responsibility to respect and include and protect trans individuals. Trans erasure is a real thing. It is happening. Watch my video, Trans Day Visibility, 11 minutes. Watch that video, share that video. Trans erasure is happening in front of us. And if you don't recognize that, watch the video again, please. I'm going to wrap up on that note, and the first thing I'm going to say is in the description is a link to a campaign that I host regularly, which is hosted on a website called New Mode, and it's a campaign to encourage political leaders and elected officials to get businesses, organizations, and companies in their communities, in their areas, in their jurisdictions to optimize their corporate social responsibilities. And so those would be things like social, ethical, environmental values, to assure those values represent the needs of the community that those organizations are part of, not the values of the budget of the organization that is in the community. Please make sure to jump in the description, hit that link. It takes less than a minute to add your voice, name, email address, postal code, hit send. There's a pre-written letter that's going to get sent to the elected officials. Please take less than a minute, add your voice, get heard, create change, share, get this message going, because trans erasure is a real thing. And if we continue to let it happen passively around us without anyone acknowledging what is going on, trans erasure not only will continue to happen, it will succeed. Please take a minute to do that. I appreciate you taking the time to watch or listen to this. As always, if you have not subscribed yet and you enjoy this content, please hit subscribe. Hit like if you haven't yet, because remember, hitting like does give a little nudge to the algorithms to make sure that this content gets seen by other people with similar interests. And I've said it a few times already, but please hit share. My message can only reach who I can reach, and I need you to help get this message seen and heard by other people as well too. It means so much. Please check the description for those links as I've mentioned earlier. Stay tuned for that content I've talked about previously too when it comes to a new series that's getting uploaded. It's a lot of content, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm really excited to be able to get that done. Hopefully, if I have everything go the way that I want, it'll be uploaded before the end of the month. But regardless, please subscribe, stay tuned, use that little notification icon thing if that's up your alley. And again, as always, stay tuned for weekly uploads of Dwell On It as well too, obviously, because this is a series that I love being able to do for you as well. Please include comments or DMs if you have any questions of your own that you would like to get added to the grab bag as always. Otherwise, it's really weird saying this because the sun still hasn't come up yet, but in this case, have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you later.